I work in EMS, and let me tell you, sometimes you get a front row seat to the wildest things. This one day, my partner and I were at a hospital to pick up a 5,150 patient, which for those who don't know, is an involuntary psychiatric hold. The ER at this particular hospital is set up in what they call pods. Think of them as large square areas, each with about 10 rooms, and a long hallway connecting all of them. Our patient was in the very last pod, which is where they keep all the 5150s. It's a high-security zone, swarming with officers who are there to constantly monitor the patients. Some patients even have what we call babysitter nurses who sit right outside their rooms, especially the ones who are considered a suicide risk. Now, I don't know if it's like this everywhere, but at this hospital, the security team is fiercely protective of the nurses. They absolutely do not tolerate any nonsense from aggressive patients. And on this day, that policy was on full display. Our patient was actually behaving, which was a nice change of pace. He was in for homicidal ideations and had already attacked a cop and several nurses before we got there. So, while he was secure and quiet, we had a perfect view down the hall into another patient's room. This other guy was clearly the main event. There were 3 security guards positioned within about 5 feet of his doorway. We noticed that every time a nurse walked past his room, the guards would subtly inch closer, creating a human barrier. I got curious, so I asked the officer who was handling our patient's discharge paperwork what the deal was. He explained that this patient had been aggressive towards the nursing staff all day. They were all on edge and were keeping a very, very close eye on him. It was clear the situation was tense. My partner and I were just about ready to leave. Our patient was strapped securely to the gurney. All his belongings were packed up, and we were just waiting for the final discharge papers. We were trying to be discreet, but honestly, we couldn't help but watch the unfolding drama down the hall. We were essentially waiting for the inevitable to happen. And then it did. Just as our nurse walked away to get our paperwork, we heard one of the guards raise his voice. He said, loud and clear, "We are not going to tell you again. Stay in your room. If you step one toe outside that room, we will forcibly put you back in, and you'll go back in restraints." The patient, of course, insisted he would behave. He promised he'd be good. Famous last words, right? My partner and I exchanged a look. We knew this was about to get interesting. A few moments later, another nurse walked by his room, just doing her rounds. The patient saw his chance. He took a full, deliberate step out of his doorway and reached for her. It was like a switch flipped. Instantly, 5 guards descended on him. It was a blur of motion. The 3 guards who were already stationed at his door were on him in a second, and 2 more came sprinting from our end of the hallway to join the fray. It was like watching a well-oiled machine spring into action. They were so fast. One of them managed to yank the privacy curtain closed, but not before we saw 2 of the guards tackle the guy, pinning him against the far wall of his room. We couldn't see everything after that, but we could certainly hear it. The guy started screaming that it was all bullshit and yelling at the top of his lungs. As we were finally leaving with our own patient, we glanced back one last time. We saw the guards physically lifting him onto the bed. They were reattaching the restraints that were already fixed to the bed frame from when he was first brought in. He was still screaming, but the situation was clearly under control. Seeing those security guards work was something else. They have a tough, often thankless job, especially when dealing with the unpredictability of the 5,150 unit. They were professional, swift, and their priority was protecting the staff. Honestly, if they hadn't been busy restraining that guy when we left, I would have walked over and high-fived every single one of them. It was a masterclass in de-escalation that, well, escalated exactly as it needed to. It's just another one of those wild stories you collect working in this field. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories from the front lines.